I know you've heard a lot of memes about the metaverse and the meta universe, but there are a couple of things that have to be discussed. Hello and welcome to the iGeeksBlog show, an Apple exclusive podcast where we talk about teeny tiny every possible information about the Apple ecosystem. I'm your host Harshanki, and in today's episode, I'm going to be discussing some unseen aspects of the Facebook's rebranding and the possible future that the company beholds. Do not forget to connect with us on our social media channels. We're available on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you want to connect with me, you can hit me up as Harshanki on Instagram and Clubhouse. Coming back to Facebook's rebranding. As we all know, in this year's Connect, that is the Facebook event, Mark Zuckerberg announced the rebranding of Facebook company to Meta, which in Greek or Latin means beyond. Now, when you think about it, this is one of them. You must have seen a lot of businesses around you that it's XYZ group of companies with a lot of sister concerns and a lot of ventures under it. Just like Google and all the companies under it are registered under the parent company Alphabet. Similarly, Zuckerberg decided to rebrand the company Facebook by the name Meta, and it will have all the four sub branches and all the possible future opportunities, that is Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and so on. Now, to think of it, why was this rebranding done? And okay, a lot of you have had very strong opinion against the privacy issues that we've been facing with Facebook, and a lot of you also, in fact, it was trending on Twitter that people believe that the rebranding was done with the sole purpose of coming up as a clean slate and new items, but no, that is not correct. That is just a way to satisfy yourself or just like a random, one of them gossip auntie discussions. It's not true. The rebranding was done because Facebook is not just restricted to social media apps anymore. In, say, a decade from now or 2 decades from now, Facebook is going to be having a lot more things than just those four social networking apps. To say the least, Facebook doesn't even have just this one social media app, Facebook, right? I mean, there's Instagram, there's WhatsApp. There are a lot of social media apps which have been taken by Facebook, so they dominate the social media industry. And now they want to expand into a lot of other things. So they have named this whole amusement park as Meta. And they have a very nice infinite logo that they have been using for the rebranding purpose. And I kind of like the logo. It just expresses that, there are no boundaries, there are no restrictions, there are no limitations at all. They are going to be having a lot more things than what we heard in the event Connect. And yeah, that's why the rebranding totally makes sense to me. Coming back to the event Connect, before I get into the excruciating details and we break down all the important aspects of the event, you have to know the things which I liked and did not like about the event. First, we'll start with the things that were good in the event. Okay, I should be taking that longer pause, right? Yeah, but okay. In my defense, all the good things that I heard from the event was just the rebranding thing and this beautiful, gorgeous future, the idea of an amazing future, the idea of completely changing the way we live with the help of the metaverse that Zuckerberg plans to create. As pleasing and as satisfying that was, it also sounded to me a little bit like those politician speeches that we hear before the elections, where things are all good and sunshine, but then it takes infinite time for them to happen. So it was a lot of promises, a lot of good things at first, but only and only if the expectations are met or we see some solid proofs rather than just seeing those videos out there, I'm going to believe it more. I'm not the only one complaining about it. Twitter went crazy on this novel called Snow Crash by Neil Stephenson, which resembles the idea of metaverse that Zuckerberg is planning to create in all the things and the processes he mentioned. If you're a movie buff and you have seen the movie Ready Player One by Steven Spielberg, you would know a lot of things. Just like it is similar, like a lot of similarities out there. A lot of things you could actually connect yourself back to the movie and see this happening. But see, here's the difference. That stands as a very futuristic movie. The novel is a dystopian novel with the idea of a beautiful future ahead. But this is an actual human being who's the owner of $1 trillion company trying to prove a point. And yeah, I mean, actions speak louder than words, Zuckerberg. So once you make that happen, we're gonna believe and actually invest in the idea. But for now, the future looks beautiful, is all I can say. Another thing that I did not like about the Event Connect was it kind of resembled Unleashed. So, you know how big of an Apple fan I am, and I did not miss a single event. I watched all of it. And if you could just have a parallel vision of Connect and Unleashed, or any Apple event for that matter, you'd see there are a lot of similarities. You'd see the man is entering, he's talking, he's connecting to important people from the management, and they are proving their points. And then you have a visual representations or the commercials running for those products or services or whatever. Lot of similarities. But an event is not an event if it reminds you of the other event. So that is an area of improvement that they can have from a presenting side of it. There's no point in having one of the world's best softwares out there, one of the world's best product out there if you don't know how to present it. Presentation comes out as extremely important aspect, and that is something Zuckerberg or the metaverse can work upon in the future. Okay, enough with the criticism, coming to some really important aspects and what was announced in the Event Connect. As discussed, the company rebranded itself into Meta, which means infinity or beyond. The company has given the idea of normalizing a virtual reality world where you can just travel the world without physically being there. You can work from your office without having to go to the office. Work from home can be improved. Date nights can be improved. You'll just by logging in, you can feel that you're there without having to be there. Lot of things like that is going to totally improvise what the future beholds for us, and that is what being called as metaverse for now. Now, Facebook understands that they're not the only company who can create a metaverse like that. As a matter of fact, there are a lot of companies that have started working in it, working for it, or running betas across, even in the ideation or the funding stage for that matter. How Facebook is different in creating a metaverse is because of the huge ass network and our codependency on the apps powered by Meta. That is where Facebook is going to create an enormous difference. And not just that, Facebook wants it to be with as less of a price as possible, or free for that matter. If they can get it free, they're going to do it free. If not, they'll have very minimum charges to give us the future that we have all been seeing in movies and dreaming about it of lately. And you know what? If this stands true, no? But how is it going to work? If Facebook wants it to be free, then how is it going to earn its money? And that is where also something that Zuckerberg did not announce during the event. So we got the leaks of it, right? That is where the products come into the picture. So when you talk about the products, there are a lot of products coming out there to sustain the metaverse, to make us accessible to the metaverse so that we can get used to it. And when you talk about the products, they are going to be the AR glasses, which are in development. They're called Area. They should be out in the next year. This means Apple is going to have a very strong competition because they are coming up with their own AR glasses, and it'd just be interesting if, you could compare both and just come out with your opinions and point of views. Not just that, they're coming up with a lot of VR headsets as well. They're going to have the cheaper ones known as Oculus 1 and Oculus 2 and Oculus 3, whereas they're going to be the more expensive ones also, but they're going to give you like better things, and like they're going to give you better access to the virtual reality world that you'll create for you and your team and your friends and family. Now, these are the products that are already in development, which means you can see how serious of a commitment this is. And this is where the company is going to be generating all its revenue from. Now, this is a business model that a lot of companies out there use. And as a matter of fact, when I was having this discussion with a couple of my friends yesterday, we discussed how most of the brands have been benefiting from it. See, now what happens when you're a service-based industry, you don't really have a strong revenue suit apart from the advertisements that you're running. Now, of course, when you call about Meta and all the applications that it's have, most of its revenue comes from the ads that we have been given on their platforms. However, there have been a lot of problems, especially after, say, Apple tightened up the privacy rules and came up with app tracking transparency policy, or ATT as we all know it. A lot of problems have come, and then it becomes difficult to sustain on that model, especially when you're a $1 trillion company and want to grow at a 20 to 30% rate annually. This is where the products come into picture, because the research cost is high, because the products that you're trying to develop are VR headsets and AR glasses and God knows what. But the margin value is incredibly high, because when you have your own product, you're not partnering up with someone else, you're developing it from scratch. So once you've done the research, on a longer term, you're earning more and more revenue from it. And that is why it is a brilliant idea to have your own products. All the leading companies, Amazon, if you shop from Amazon, I'll give you a social experiment right away, okay? Just take your phone, open your Amazon, and search for any damn product that can come to your head. A jewelry, accessory, some tech product, kitchen appliance, any freaking thing. And you would see a lot of products where you'd read those very local small brands that you've never heard of, but you'd read a text that says powered by Amazon or an Amazon brand. This is because Amazon has started acquiring these brands so that the margin value for them increases. It's an in-house brand now, and that is increasing the margin for Amazon. Similarly, this is a long shot, but coming to think of it, I feel this may be true. Apple switched to M1 chips. It had been creating A13 and then A14 chips, but then it came up with M1 chips because Intel chips had a lot of problems. The customer service wasn't appreciated enough, and development cost was also going high. So when you think about the M1 and then the M1 series of chips and the laptops that we've, the MacBooks, I'm sorry, Apple fans, don't just kill me right here. Don't abandon me, okay? I'm a human, I make mistakes. Nevertheless, all the M1 series of MacBooks that have come in the market, they are giving 5 times better performance at almost the same cost, which means you're getting 5 times better results at the same cost. This is an incredible margin value for Apple, because they were giving us these great performances at lesser cost, if you think about it. So every company, when I've gotten to a certain stage of point where they have to develop themselves, where they have to keep growing at a certain space, innovation stands as a very important aspect, and that is where products come into market. Hence, the AR glasses, the VR headsets are going to be really important for us to see and unveil how that goes. Not just that, while I was just entering the studio, someone just shared a link to me that Facebook is coming up with a watch that is going to be a really strong competition to Apple Watch, as they call it. Now, I mean, I'm really appreciative of the thought that Facebook is coming up with an app, like with a watch for itself. And as per the images leaked by Bloomberg, you'd see there is a notch there, which means the watch has a camera there, which is something different from all the existing watches we have in the market. But coming to think of it, the watch segment is kind of oversaturated, because there are a lot of amazing watches out there. I'm not even mentioning the Apple Watch. There are also a lot of cost efficient watches out there that brilliantly work, that keep the customers happy, which means the watch that Facebook, the watch that Meta is going to be coming up with has to have something out of the blue. Possibly that is why they kind of leaked the image with the note so that we know there's a camera, which I don't see in any of the other competitors here. Regardless, when you've been in the smartwatch industry for almost 7 to 8 years now, for that matter, you started the smartwatch industry, it's going to be very difficult to compete against such a gigantic competitors standing out there. But it's going to be exciting regardless. I'm really looking forward to that. Before moving to the end of the episode, I'd really like to share a beautiful story with you guys. When we were young, we used to watch all these sci-fi movies and think how beautiful is the future. It is going to be years and years for us to be able to see that future. And here we are in 2021, witnessing the first steps to it, witnessing it in its nascent stage. Okay, even Zuckerberg knows, even we know that it is not possible that, you'd see these virtual reality worlds in, say, 2 to 3 years from now. It is going to be at least a decade, to say the least, for all of this to materialize, for all of this to experience by us commoners, by us, regular, normal people. The idea of it is still gorgeous. It's just beautiful. The fact that the world is changing, the world is going digital, the world is going crazy, and we are witnessing the initial stages just blows my mind away. What are your thoughts about it? Please do let me know. Connect with us on our social media channels. We are available as iGeeksBlog on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We are also available as our website www.igeeksblog.com. If you have any doubts, any suggestions, or want to connect with me, you can hit me up on Instagram or Clubhouse. I'm available as Harshanki with an extra I. And that's it, my friends. Okay, I love festivals, yeah. I really like festivals, and this is like a bonus episode. It is a Diwali bonus episode because Facebook has given us this amazing news. And just like the company has rebranded itself to Infinite, which means there are no horizons whatsoever, there is enormous scope for growth and development. Let us also practice the idea of infinity in our own respective lives and grow exponentially than what we expect. Let's aim towards achieving a bigger future and start working towards it today itself. This is Harshanki signing off. I'll see you next week with more exciting content, something pretty exclusive, maybe reviewing something. Just drop me the suggestions and I'll be there for it. Stay safe, stay connected, take care, and wish you and your family a very happy and prosperous Diwali. Oh, and don't forget to download our app, iGeeksBlog. It's available for Apple users. You'd find it in the App Store. Take care.